ultimately it was for nothing. And there was no way to know what I'm about to tell you. And I thought I had it all figured out. But already in my mind, I was like, there's no way. Let's dive right into it. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Esther. I am a nurse clinician here in Montreal, Canada, and I make videos about nursing and all things nursing. So if this is of interest to you, please subscribe. And so as you can tell by the title of today's video, it's the application decision for NP school and the Nurse Practitioner program. And drum roll, the decision has been made. So we will be discussing that today, as well as my goals moving forward. All right, so I want to share my story, not to just celebrate, but to support anyone who's on this path and may be feeling a little bit discouraged. So I'll do a little backstory just in case you haven't watched my previous videos. So I graduated nursing at Dawson in 2014. I graduated with a DEC, so similar to an AA in the US, and I applied for the BNI program at McGill. The BNI program, so it's basically a 2-year program. They take into consideration your credits from your DEC diploma, and you basically graduate with a Bachelor's of Science of Nursing at the end of that program. I did not get accepted because my GPA and R score was really low or not high enough. Girl, I was struggling. the struggle I went through at nursing school. But anyway, my GPA wasn't high enough, so I ended up finding Laurentian University, who offered their program 100% online, which was perfect for me. So fast forward to 2021. So this is when I initially applied to the primary care NP program at McGill. And the primary care experience that I had was not considered. So there is a 5-year limit for experience that you have in primary care for the school. This may not be the case for all schools, so you do have to do your research, but I did have enough hours from the retirement home that I worked at, but it was past the 5-year mark, so those hours were not considered. So they suggested that I switch my application to the adult care program because of my ICU experience. But I was not interested in doing adult care, so I basically came up with a new plan and moved on. So I knew that I wanted to get into the NP program, so I thought, hey, let's do a Master's of Nursing. With that Master's of Nursing, I would apply to NP school and basically focus on the Nurse Practitioner program courses because I would have had already completed the Master's program. So in 2022, I started the Master's of Nursing program at Laurentian University, which again was 100% online. And, for me, it was ideal because I was able to balance work, life, family, and at this time too, I did also, given that I needed primary care experience, I was like, oh, well, people talk about moving up north, getting really good experience in primary care. So I'm like, hey, let me do that. So I moved my entire family up north to Chisasibi, Cree Nation community up north in Quebec. And this is where I obtained the experience that I was required to apply. So, or after obtaining the amount of hours that I needed to apply, which was at about a year, I applied, I got an interview, and I was rejected. So my application was strong, but again, I was rejected. So that was one disappointment. What did I do after? I did reach out to the admissions department asking them what I could do to strengthen my application for the following year, which is basically this year of 2025, and they recommended having at least another year of experience. So even if you have 1 year experience, just do 2 before you waste your time applying because they do prefer people with more primary care experience for the program. And I did go on to get information about which application to choose as a nurse who would have had completed a master's degree. So keep in mind, during this time, there was no file evaluation. It was just an email exchange, and there was no way to know what I'm about to tell you. So fast forward to 2024, I completed my Master's of Science of Nursing with so much hope and so much pride. And I shared my convocation vlog with you all in 2024 of November. For me, this was a huge milestone, having completed a graduate degree. Being one of the first in my family to do so was really inspiring. It really showed me that I was able to do anything I put my mind to, because that program was not easy. And again, my goal in completing the Masters of Nursing program was to avoid a heavy course load while in the NP program. As I know, the program is quite intense, and I have a family, and I know a couple people that have done the program, and it is no joke. So fast forward to this year. So applications are usually due February 1st. So I submitted my application by the deadline, and I prayed for the best. A few weeks later, the coordinator reached out to me and gave me really disappointing news. So she basically informed me that the equivalency department deemed my master's non-equivalent, meaning that they were not accepting my master's degree that was done here in Canada, as the degree I completed was 30 credits, whereas McGill's master's programs are 45 credits. And I was told that there is no way to take the 15 credits to have an equivalent degree. Imagine the disappointment. Listen, yeah, I felt exactly how you feel right now. I was frustrated, I was annoyed, I was disappointed. I was like, well, my file was basically evaluated last year, but technically it wasn't really. When I applied last year to get into the program, the degree wasn't yet completed. It was going to be under condition. So there was no real way to know that I wasn't going to have the 45 credits until I completed the degree, which is now. So transcripts were sent, proof of diploma, proof of convocation was sent. The Masters of Science that I did in Ontario is not being considered for the Nurse Practitioner program at McGill. So when the coordinator reached out to me, she was compassionate, she was patient with all my questions, because I was on the phone like, and she was just like, you know what, take your time, let me know. She asked me if I wanted to move forward with my application. I was like, you know what, at this point, evaluate the file, do what you have to do, move forward. Already in my mind, I was like, there's no way that doing a master's degree, there's no way. A master's of nursing, so if I do the program at McGill, I'll have 2 Masters of Science in Nursing degrees. So she moved forward, I agreed. So my application basically was changed from master's entry application to a bachelor's entry application, meaning that I don't have a master's degree, right? So if I'm entering as a bachelor entry, then I have to do the master's degree plus the nurse practitioner diploma and certificate. So if I basically get into the program, I would have to complete the NP program along with the master's degree a portion again, which was what I was avoiding to do. So even with advanced education, solid grades, really good experience, I really had to take the time to pray, reflect, discuss with my husband, discuss with my best friends. I got, opinions, points of views, and I had to basically sit and think about what the best course of action would be, because I had so many different plans in my head. I'm like, you know what? For the past 2 years, I've done research about schools in Ontario. Quebec is just so complicated. Schools in Ontario aren't so complicated. If I do the master's degree in Ontario, it's online, and then I can do the NP program in person or partially online depending on the school. So for example, University of Ottawa offers a 1-year primary care nurse practitioner program if you do have a master's, and I'm like thinking about all of these things, and I had to consider the cost, the length of their programs, how I would get there, and if I did decide to move on to Ontario, I would be both paying a mortgage and looking for an apartment, paying for an apartment, having those types of expenses. Would I need a car? So many things to consider, so many things going through my mind. And I thought I had it all figured out, to be honest. I thought I had it all figured out, but a week later, or 2 weeks later, I think it was about 2 weeks, I was offered an interview at McGill. I only applied to McGill, so we are only talking about McGill University right now. So I accepted to do the interview on the last day that they had interviews because I caught the worst flu. I had fever. I thought I had pneumonia. So fast forward to the interview. I coughed the entire time. My voice was gone. I had fever. I was sweating. I didn't feel well. And to be honest, I didn't care at this point because of what I just explained. I really didn't care at this point. I was like, you know what, let me just do this and just get it over with, whatever. I'm not going there anyway. Because there's no way I'm going to do the master's again. So there were 4 people. I believe 3 were NPs. 1 was a pediatrician, which is odd. Anyway, honestly, I don't remember. There were about 5 questions, and every person basically asked 1 or 2 questions, and I was able to complete the interview within 30 minutes. I don't remember the last time how long it took me to answer those questions, but I was just like, boom, 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 get it over with. I don't feel well. I need to lay down, and I don't care. After I was done with the interview, I was sweating. Not only because I had fever, but because I felt super stressed. I was annoyed at the entire situation. And I just sat and thought, like, how I've waited so long to get into this school, to get into this program, for me to run into yet another roadblock. 2 weeks after this interview, I was away on vacation and I randomly checked my email. First of all, I wasn't even going to bring my computer. I usually bring my laptop and I'm like, well, do I really need it? I'm going to be away. I don't really need to bring my computer. So thankfully I brought my computer because on April 14th, I randomly checked my email. Watch this. So as you can see, I log in. We made a decision on your application. Honestly, at this point, I was just like, yeah, whatever. And I read it and I see, Dear Esther, congratulations. It is my great pleasure to inform you that you have been accepted. And I froze. I really did not expect to get this. I mean, yes, I have the experience. Yes, I have the competency. Yes, I have the grades. Yeah, like everything is yes, but I still was in shock and I couldn't believe it. Like I couldn't believe it. I had zero emotions, and having to make a decision by the 28th of April was a little stressful because it's like, okay, well, do I accept their offer? Didn't I say I wouldn't accept the offer because there's no way I'm repeating the master's degree? Is this what I'm supposed to do? Like, I've gotten this far to not accept the offer. I really was, still right now, like reading it again, I am still in shock. I am still in shock and still shaking my head. Like, I finally got into the program. I'm finally being offered admission into this program. I was shocked, annoyed, frustrated, confused all over again. Wanted to cry. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I read it over and over and over and over again, and still till today, like we are April 30th, and I still open up the offer letter and I read it and I'm still in disbelief, to be honest. So basically, after facing multiple rejections, moments of doubt, I've officially been accepted into my number one school and their nurse practitioner program. I got accepted to the only school I applied to, and this is the only school that offers the NP program in English because I'm in Quebec, Montreal, and McGill is the only health science school that offers this program in English. And this is the only school that I've wanted to attend since I graduated nursing in 2014. So 11 years later, I've been accepted to McGill. Listen, so many thoughts ran through my mind. I told myself that even if I get accepted, I won't accept their offer. But listen, I was humbled. I was reminded that God's timing is always better. And in the end, after much reflection, I did weigh the pros and the cons, whether it was because family, whether it was about sacrifice, was it ego, was it pride? And I did pray for peace, and the decision came to me one super late evening. I think it was like almost midnight when I was reading the offer letter, and I decided to accept the offer. So I wanted to be real with you about what it took to get here, especially how my master's degree in nursing was not enough. And what I've learned is to trust God's timing, that He's always on time, and He always gives me what I needed. And to be still, to not rush into things. Maybe I was sent a sign to not take that master's degree course and I ignored it. I paid that master's out of pocket. It took a lot of time for me to complete that master's. It took 2 years and I was very dedicated. I would wake up in the morning, 4 o'clock, get on my computer, do my work, write my papers, and ultimately it was for nothing. It was for nothing. Or maybe it was for something, but anyway. Child. Word of advice is your path may not be linear because mine was not. Yes, a master's degree is valuable, but not every school will recognize it in the same way. So you really have to do your due diligence and ask questions and confirm things. And my only word of advice right now would be, if you would like to do a master's, if you would like to take the path that I've taken by completing a master's and then going into the NP program in Quebec, make sure that your master's degree is from the school that you intend to complete your NP program at. So if you want to do the NP program at McGill and you want to do the master's first for whatever reason, do the master's at McGill. And for any other school, just make sure that that you get the right information, because for me, I thought what I was doing was correct, and at the end it wasn't. And they're not really able to tell you, from another school, if it's going to be equivalent, right? So it's only when you finish that degree that they're able to do an equivalency according to your application. So if you are facing rejections, and it doesn't mean that you're not worthy, it doesn't mean that, that you don't deserve it. It really means that you really need to rethink the approach, ask for feedback, and trust the process, because delayed does not mean denied. So I'm here to cheer you on, and I will definitely be sharing my NP journey every step of the way. So at the beginning of this year, I asked God to guide me into choosing a word for the year. I do this every year, and this year I came upon the word rest. So I've decided to defer my offer. You can only do this once, and I am going to take the time to enjoy my not being in school, because I feel like I'm always in school. I'm always studying something, whether I'm in a program or just taking personal development courses. But I will take a year off, enjoy my life, enjoy my family, and see what this journey brings, and follow me along. So if this is of interest to you, please subscribe. I'm going to McGill. All right, so thank you so much again for watching, and you will definitely see me on the next video. Bye.